Okay, so just right back where I was off the last video, I was talking about having a kid and random stuff. I guess I'll make a video about motorcycles now. It's my video, so I guess I can talk about whatever I want. But now I'm going on the freeway, so it's gonna be fucking hard to talk. There's so much noise. Okay. This video is gonna be, I watched a video on someone saying, you have to ride 5,000 miles a year to be a real biker. Well, I ride well over that, but I don't think that's the real indication. I think if you even own a motorcycle, then that makes you a real biker, dude. You don't have to own a motorcycle. I mean, a lot of people own motorcycles and never use them, but the fact that you bought one and have used it at all, I think that makes you a real biker. You know, there's people that ride every day, and obviously those people are, you know, it's a lifestyle. For me, it's a lifestyle. I've probably ridden over 16,000 miles this year, just in the past 6 months. That feels like a lot to me. I pretty much rode a motorcycle probably at least 5 days a week, every single week for the past 6 months. The weather, as you can tell now, is getting quite a bit worse, so it's going to be hard to do that every single day. With the highs now in the mid to low 50s, and the lows well into the 30s, high 30s right now. You have to really want to ride a motorcycle to be doing that. And I'll tell you, I don't think anyone can change my mind about this. The most serious people that are riding a motorcycle are it's the BMW guys, and it's not even close. Those guys, every time I see a rider in the winter or with all the gear, like with the full Viz gear and the fully heated plug-in stuff, it's almost always on like a BMW GS 1200 or 1200 GS, whatever they call it, or the RT 1200. Because those bikes are literally, I mean, they're more expensive, and they're expensive to maintain, but they are really reliable, and they consistently do over 100,000 miles. If you look on Craigslist at any BMW motorcycle, they're gonna have the most mileage. They're gonna have the most miles on. If you filter all your bikes by 50,000 miles or more, or 100,000 miles or more, it's typically only gonna be BMWs and Honda Goldwing. That's it. Let's go this way. I'm gonna go this way just to get off the freeway. I hate talking with all the wind. It's too hard for me. I lose my train of thought faster than normal, which I already lose it pretty fast, but let's just go this way and take the back roads, baby. Yeah, so the BMW guys are legit. I mean, those guys, I feel like those guys, it's more of a lifestyle to them. But even someone who has a Honda Shadow, or someone that looks at me would probably think I'm not a serious biker, because I have a little Yamaha, and I'm gonna pull over to the side of the road here for this guy. Wow, that guy was going pretty fast. So, yeah, I mean, part of it is how much you ride. But I still, like, if I can have a conversation with someone about a motorcycle, like, a lot of times I'll be at a store or a gas station, and some people will just come up to you and like, oh man, beautiful day for a ride. Yeah, I have a Harley, or I have a Honda. They'll just start talking to you. So that's awesome, right? And a lot of people don't ride all that often because they're maybe fair weather riders, or they have a lot of other stuff going on in their life. So to me, it's just one of the things I really like to do. So I try to ride as much as I can, because I still can. Like, I'm pretty young. I'm not married or anything, so it's one of the things I really enjoy doing. and it just takes your mind off it takes your mind off everything, you know, just totally. So that's why I do it. And for me, the reason I rode so much this year is just because of the coronavirus and kind of everything changing. So I've had a lot more time to just kind of, especially during the summer, the days are so long, you can go out and ride for 100 miles a day, pretty much every day at least. 100 miles only takes an hour and a half, probably 2 hours, which isn't hard to do. It's light at 5:30 in the morning and it's dark at 9:30. So there's a lot of time to go out and, you know, I can do 100 miles just riding around here if I ride around for a little bit, or close to 100 miles. So but yeah, 16,000 miles. I did about a little over 7,000 miles on this bike, which is by far the most I've done in a riding season. Usually it's around about 3,000 to 4,000 on this bike. Just because most of the time in the past I was really only riding on the weekends, and then I would just be too tired, you know, during the day to, you know, after you go to work or whatever, and you come back and you've worked all day and you drive and you just, I remember because I was in sales, and I would get home at 5 in the afternoon. You know, you start working at 7 in the morning. Some days I would go to the gym. So that was another thing. I haven't been going to the gym at all. I haven't been to a gym in 6 months. I still do I do a little bit of running outside now, so I'm still relatively in shape. But I used to go to the gym for probably 8 hours a week. So there's another 8 hours that, now I probably only run for like 4 hours a week. So there's another 4 hours a week of actual time that I'm not at a gym, that I could be doing anything. But I remember going to work, and then, you know, we'd get done around 4 o'clock or 3:30 or 4 o'clock or 4:30 some days. You know, you can stay as long as you want, I guess, because it's a sales job. But I'd just be so tired, especially in the summer. There were days when I'd get home at 5 o'clock and I would go to sleep. I would literally go to sleep. I remember one day I went to bed at 5:30 and I woke up at 6:15 the next day. So that was like 13 or 12 hours and 45 minutes of sleep one day, because I was so tired. I slept completely through it. I slept for 12 hours and 45 minutes straight, which is, I think, by far the longest I've ever slept. It's like that feeling when you're awake, but the only thing you're thinking about is, Jesus Christ, I'm so tired. Like, I just want to, the first thing I'm doing is going to sleep. That's all you can think about. Even when you're on the phone talking to people, it was like, man, I am really tired. As soon as I am out here, I am going to bed. So that's what I did. I got home. I think I had a drink of water from the fridge, and maybe I took a shower and I went to bed right away. But now, you know, you don't have to really, especially this year, it's just been totally different. So I've had more time to ride, and there's no traffic, so you're not stuck in traffic really wherever you go. So that's why I've been able to ride so much more. And then me and my brother did a trip to San Francisco, which was like 2,000 miles there and back in 5 days. And I did that on my other bike. So I did about a little over 8,000 miles on, or 8,500 miles now on my BMW. Roughly 8,500 miles this year. And they're doing a bunch of construction here, so that's good. 8,500 miles on my BMW, and I think about 7,500 miles now on this bike. I'm at 39,427 miles. I think I had around 31,000. I think I had right around 31,500. So it might even be closer to 8,000 miles on this bike as well. So that's about 16,000 miles between the two, which I don't think I've ever ridden even 10,000 miles in a year. So this was a lot of miles this year for me. I sometimes I'll look at forums of other people and I'm like, there's people saying they do like 100,000 miles in a year, or 50,000 miles. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Because I felt like I rode almost every single day when I could, which was, you know, about 150 days or more of riding roughly 100 miles a day. You know, some days it was only like 30, but some days I rode 450 miles. You know, there's probably 10 days this year where I rode over 400 miles. So you have to be riding, I mean, let's say that you can ride every single day, which isn't true. Let's say you can ride 300 miles a day. Even if you live in the nicest areas, 300 miles or 300 days a year. If you ride 100 miles a day, 300 days a year, that's still only 30,000 miles, right? So that's a lot of miles, but imagine that's 100 miles a day every single day for 300 days. That's still only 30K. So you have to be riding, I mean, you gotta ride, how are you riding that much if you're riding 100,000 miles a year? You must be doing days where you're just totally like a nomad, where you're doing 500 mile after 500 mile after 500 mile days. That's just the only way you can do it. Most people, if they have a normal situation, are not riding more than they're not going to be riding more than 100 miles a day if they're just commuting. Maybe 150 if they have like a really long commute, but I doubt it, right? So 15,000 miles for me is probably the most that I could ever